So welcome back, everyone. We'll get started here in a moment. I still see a few people trickling in, but welcome back from a brief coffee break. We'll get started with the state of the shell here. So hi, everyone. Welcome to PSConfEU. My name is Stephen Bucher, and I'm joined here with Damien Caro. We are both... Oh, thank you. So we are both product managers for the PowerShell team. We're also joined by a number of our engineers on the team here that we'll bring up to help us show off some really cool stuff that we've been working on lately. So is this, how many first-time people are at this conference this year? Go raise your hands. Okay, there's a lot of first-timers here. This is always one of our favorite conferences to come to. It's a great opportunity to really learn and dive deep into PowerShell and everything adjacent to PowerShell. So we're very excited to show off what we have in store for you today and throughout the week with a variety of our sessions. So first thing we kind of wanted to do was start off with a little bit about kind of our mission statement. I'm not sure how many people know about what our core PowerShell team's mission statement is. And simply put, it is to improve the lives of people working in operations. We want to help empower people in operations to be able to achieve more and do more with the work that they're doing. And, this is a little bit purposely vague. Operations, what does that mean? Does it mean DevOps? Does it mean IT ops? Does it mean, all these sort of things? And we recognize that. We want to lean into that broadness because we know that PowerShell is not a single tool for a single purpose. It is a very broad platform that you can use it for all sorts of things. It's a glue language. It's an automation language. It's all these things that you can use it for that make it. And that's one of the reasons why it makes it so powerful. And Microsoft's core mission statement is to empower everyone to achieve more in the world. And we're honing in deeper into this to talk more about operations and talk more about how we can help improve everyone's lives in operations with the work that we're doing on the PowerShell team. So diving in a little deeper, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of our core pillars, about what drives the work that we're doing. And we'll connect kind of the cool stuff that we're working on here to each of these here so you can kind of see that this is our vision when it comes to the work that we're doing now and into the future. So we have basically three very, straightforward core pillars. The first one is simple. We want to make things simple and easy for people to use PowerShell and use the tools that we provide with PowerShell. It's how can we help it assist users that way? The next one, and probably the most important one, is security or secureness with the things that you're doing. And we'll dive more deeply into these each a little later here, but wanted to give you a high-level overview. And the last one is integration. And this is a bit of a catch-all, but it is an important piece of PowerShell because PowerShell is that glue language and it can be kind of integrated in all sorts of things. This is where we want to focus on the end-to-end scenarios with using PowerShell to get the work that you need done and have the compatibility with the tools that you need. So that's a little high-level overview of some of our core pillars. Let's dive into it first a little bit on simplicity or making things simpler. Simply put, lots of simples here, but how can we make things simpler to use and assist you in the process? And so this goes a lot towards some of the improvements that we're making towards PowerShell's interactivity and a lot of the things that we're doing in the core engine itself. So, PowerShell 7.4 came out this year, or I guess last November, but this last fiscal year, and we're very excited about that. It's the latest LTS of PowerShell 7.4, and it's had a number of awesome improvements to things like the tab completers. We've updated a lot of the versions of the inbox modules like PS Resource Get and then PS Reline, which each provided their own improvements to the engine and the ecosystem of PowerShell there. We've also made some improvements to some of the web commandlets and some additional minor engine improvements that includes additions to some of the things in PS style. We've also introduced a number of key experimental features that I'll talk about in a moment here. But why don't we just jump into a demo? I feel like the best way to kind of show off what we're doing is to show it, right? You don't want to hear me talk about it. You want to hear me just do it. So let me. Oh, wrong button. Give me a moment here. Let me zoom in. Can everyone see? Oh,
nope.
Hang on. There we go. End show. Can you see my screen? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties here. Give me a moment. Well, you see my pretty desktop pictures, so thank you. It's this is actually where I'm from, in California. Let's see, displays. Come on. Can you see? There we go. Fantastic. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, and it crashed. Okay. That was Windows Terminal. That wasn't PowerShell, guys. No, I mean, all right. Well, give me a moment here because we had that set up for stuff here, and I typed the wrong key again. All right. Well, give me one moment here. There we go. Okay. So, all right, we're back. Sorry about that. So we are, I wanted to show off some of the improvements that we're doing to the interactive experience in PowerShell when you're actually using the shell itself. And so these are things that we call, we want to help improve you at every step of the way while you're typing the command, after you type the command, and as you're kind of starting to think about typing the command. That whole process, we want to help assist you. And the first thing, the most probably, I mean, in my opinion, one of the best things that we've done for the interactive improvements is the predictive IntelliSense of PowerShell. And you've probably seen it. If you install PowerShell 7, we have it now on by default, which is as I type, you'll start to see the last commands that I've typed. We have history enabled by default, so we know you run a lot of commands over and over again, and so having that enabled there by default is a great way to be able to, simply accept it with the right arrow key and then, get on with your day. We have, this other experience here. So you see the inline, right? It's this little grayed out version. I can press F2 here and show all of my history of all the stuff I've been doing. You can see I've been messing around with a lot of the demos, and I can go back and forth and do all this stuff here. But where it really gets powerful is when we bring in plugins. So plugin predictors are when you can import a PowerShell module that actually enhances your experience and gives you something that you've never ever typed before. And one of my favorite ones that we have is the completion predictor. So I'm actually going to import this module. It's a completion predictor. We've published it to the gallery. It's just called completion predictor. This uses tab completion to actually give you predictive IntelliSense capability. So I'm going to go back to list view. So if I see here, get child item, if I start typing, you'll see it actually uses tab completion to fill in the next parameters and stuff. And if I press F2 here, you can see it more clearly where I can go through all the different paths, and we have these really cool tooltips to kind of give you a little description about what the parameters are and what the different capabilities you get are from these predictions. And you know what? I can keep going and going and going because there's so many parameters in this case, but you get the idea that we try to give you the information available to you right at your fingertips. The tab completion is, a very instinctive thing that instinctive behavior that CLI users have, and we wanted to bring it a little closer where it's now shown before you even have to type tab. So that's something I really wanted to show off. That's a pretty cool improvement to the PowerShell predictive IntelliSense. I hinted at experimental features that we've been doing for PowerShell 7.4. One of the first ones that we've introduced in 7.4 is called feedback providers. Now, feedback providers are very similar to predictors, except they happen after execution. Imagine when you hit enter and something goes wrong, you need some kind of feedback to help you get back on track. And so feedback providers provide a platform for users to be able to build ways to give feedback to users typing. And we built in a number of just basic quality of life ones into PowerShell. And I'll show you I have it enabled. If I can type, get experimental feature here. You'll see here I got the feedback provider experimental feature enabled. And what this does is if I mistype a command, get child item. Oh, I misspelled it too much. Something like that. Here we go. So this is what the feedback provider interface looks like. It brings up this UI telling you, you mistyped a command. This triggers on the command not found exception that happens. And so if you occasionally just mistype something, and this works with other commands that you have installed as well on your machine, but this is just a quick, easy quality of life thing that we believe is important to bring to PowerShell users. So I talked about extensibility with feedback providers. And so one of the things that we've done is actually build out a feedback provider that is connected to winget. So what happens if you try to type a command that you don't have installed yet? If you use Linux, you're familiar with, apt-get will kind of suggest you, hey, you can use apt-get install Docker or apt-get install whatever when you try to use those native commands. Well, we're bringing that experience similarly to PowerShell, where I've imported the winget command not found feedback provider already in my session. So if I am typing a command that I don't have access to, it will suggest to me and give me the right command that I need to install it via winget. So I don't have Docker installed, but if I try using it, it does not recognize. It will check against the packages in winget and show you that you can install it by using winget install /id Docker and so forth. And the coolest thing about this is something that we do better than Linux here is that we connect it with the predictive IntelliSense. So if I start typing this next command here, look at that. We have the suggestion from the feedback provider directly into the predictive IntelliSense buffer. So I don't actually have to copy and paste the whole thing. I just type one letter and you'll see the next command suggested, and then boom, I'm done and I can accept it there. So so that's a little bit about some of the simplicity of PowerShell that we're investing in. Okay, cool. Oh, that worked. I was really worried there. All right, Damien, why don't you come up? Do you want to talk a little bit about some security stuff?
Yeah, I can talk about some boring and less fun stuff called security. We all know security is an important piece of our life, a day-to-day thing. I was reminded about it yesterday. I was traveling here to Antwerp, and Alexander was reminding us to be careful of our backpacks and luggages. And I was like, oh yeah, that's even true in real life. It's not just in tech. Even though in tech, it's even more important. We have that because we have all kinds of malicious activities happening on the internet. And it becomes even more important when you have your resources in the cloud. I'm the PM working on the Azure command line tools so Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell. And when you talk with customers who have resources in the cloud, it's highly important for them to be secure, make sure that whatever assets they have in those environments are protected at every level. It comes from having those assets protected where they are, but also how you access them and what you can use to access them. So we've been working with different teams at Microsoft to make sure that security was built into our product at the foundation of it, at every single layer of what we're building. I'm going to switch to the demo, as it's going to be easier to show you what we have in mind, and that's not my machine, so bear with me. There we go, and I'm looking for the tabs. Not this one. Here it is. So that's, I would say, a very simple script that I've been building over the last few days, specifically for this conference. And basically what the script does, you may be familiar with it, is retrieving a key from Key Vault, nothing very fancy here, and then getting that key, putting it in the script, and then putting it in the output. I mean, why not? You may want to use it for other purposes. You may want to write it in your logs for any reason. And what happened is, has any of you used that kind of thing in GitHub Action recently? I see a few hands up. Okay. So you may know what happens. Azure GitHub Action is actually displaying everything in the logs of that script. And if you're writing a script, if you're writing a secret, guess what? GitHub Action identified that you're exposing a secret in the logs. And by default, obfuscate those secrets, write them with 3 stars. That's a good thing. We're trying to help you from leaking secrets because the permissions you have on that script may be different than the permissions that were on the key itself. So hold on, there's one more thing, and I'll come to that in a minute. But what we've been doing with the Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI team and GitHub Action team is to get that learning from GitHub Action and bring it into the commands. So if I'm switching to my PowerShell commands, is it this one?
Yep,
this one.
It's terminal.
Nope, wrong one. This one.
We test a lot with different things. We got so many different
Nope, that's not the one. Is it?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, okay. Let's try to zoom in. Zooming, zooming, zooming. All right. Can you all see? And trying to find the command. We tried yesterday, so I'm just looking for the command itself. Oops, there it is. OK. So if I'm getting the storage account key, that's the easy command here. We are getting similar thing than what you have seen in GitHub Action. We are identifying that your key has been exposed. And yes, I'm going to rotate those keys in a minute. So no worries, you can get those. I'm going to make sure we don't get those. And there's nothing on that storage account, so don't worry. But we're exposing that learning, the same identification of secrets that we have in GitHub Action in the AZ command or Azure CLI. Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI have the same logic. And when we identify them, we have this warning message that says the output is may compromise the secrets, etc. We have also been working on helping you know if you're using a command that is out of date. That's not the case here, apparently. We've updated the module, I guess, yesterday. But if you are using a module that is out of date, we will show you a big warning message saying that you're using an old version of modules. The reason why we want to help you be always up to date is because we are always injecting the security fixes. We are improving our authentication layer on a day-to-day basis. And we want you to use those latest versions so you're remaining protected when you're managing Azure resources. So those are a few of the things we're going to talk a bit later this week. I think it's Wednesday. We're going to go in much more details on all those different improvements we've done on the Azure commands.
Cool.
All right. I'm going to give the floor back to Stephen, and I'm going to rotate the keys while he's doing that.
Cool. And I will, call out the elephant in the room. I am a bad PowerShell user. I haven't upgraded to the latest version. In my defense, it only happened a couple days ago. So I don't have automatic updates on my computer because I do a lot of testing. But yeah, one thing.
Repo?
Yeah, yes,
you want
thank
to
you.
talk about the repo?
Yeah, so one thing about security that we wanted to touch on for PowerShell specifically is where you can find information about some of the security vulnerabilities that happen with PowerShell. Security is our #1 priority now, and we want to make sure that you guys are aware of kind of areas that you can learn about some of the PowerShell vulnerabilities with .NET and some of the security advisories that we deal with. And so I wanted to point out that we have an announcements repo in the PowerShell org. So github.com/PowerShell/announcements. And in the issues tab, we actually put all of our security fixes, or security issues there. And in the issues themselves, we specifically identify which versions that they are affected in and which versions that they're fixed in. So definitely keep this in mind if security is a big, important thing for you, which it should be for PowerShell 7. Yeah, let's jump over back again. Okay. Okay. So the last kind of piece of the puzzle that we are talking about is integration. And like I said, this is a pretty big catch-all statement. And this is where we talk about, PowerShell is the glue language connecting these different things together. That's a big, principle that we've talked about a lot over the years. And so we want to be able to support more scenarios and support more ways that you can use PowerShell with different services in Azure, with different services outside of Azure, with anything that you need to get done. We want to make sure that you have the capabilities to do so. And so we've been trying to work better with partner teams to help encourage better PowerShell coverage, PowerShell module coverage, and commandlet coverage in these different services. We are also working ourselves with different kind of end-to-end scenarios that we'll demo here in a moment. But one thing I wanted to talk about first was SSH. So OpenSSH also kind of falls on our team. We maintain and build out OpenSSH for Windows and wanted to highlight some of the cool new changes coming to that. First big one is we'll see if this jump over again. So I am in a Windows Server 2025 VM, and one thing we've been very excited about is this little thing here. This little remote SSH access. It is now installed by default on Windows Server 2025, and all you have to do is enable it to get it working. So we're very, very excited about this. I'll move my mouse out of the way, but we're very, very excited about this. So now you can just enable it with this very simple click of the button, or a simple command there. But wanted to highlight that. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, now back to the main demo here. Another thing I wanted to show off was SSH Arc over Arc machines. So, or what we like to call Shark too. Get it? SSH Arc. But we wanted to show off how easy it is to connect to machines without exposing any IPs and make it very simple to onboard. So I've onboarded a Windows Server 2022 VM into Arc, and I've made it Arc enabled, and I've enabled SSH on that machine. So all I have to do, if I was in CloudShell or if I was anywhere else, I just have to type in enter AZVM. And look at this, predictive IntelliSense is helping me here, but it specified the resource group that I have the Arc machine in, the name of the VM that I want to connect to, and then the local user here. And then it will connect to the machine. And all I have to do is put in my password. And then boom, I'm connected. So it's super, super easy to use SSH Arc. All you have to do is onboard your machine. There's some great sessions this week about SSH if you want to learn more. I think there's one later today. So definitely check out all the things SSH. This is an area that we're very invested in and very excited about bringing secure remoting to Windows and beyond. So let's talk about another integration piece that we're doing, and that is with our package management solution. So I'm going to actually bring up our engineer, Amber. Everyone give Amber a warm welcome. So Amber is one of our main engineers working on PowerShell Gallery and PS Resource Get. And so she's going to show us a little bit about some of the work that we're doing connecting to ACR, or Azure Container Registry.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah. So you'll have
PowerShell.
Yeah, and then you're going to have
awesome.
to import. There we go.
Yeah.
So that should work.
Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm Amber. I work on PS Resource Get, which is the package manager for PowerShell. It is the new and improved package manager. Basically, it's what you would use to find, install, save, publish PowerShell packages. We just released a preview release last month, and this includes integration with a new type of package repository, Azure Container Registries. And if you're unfamiliar with ACR, it's basically a managed repository that allows you to store and manage images and OCI artifacts in a really safe and secure way. I'm going to do a quick demo on how PS Resource Get actually interacts with ACR. So we do have the ACR registry registered as a PS Resource Get repository. It's right here, PSConfEU demo. And then we are actually going to, publish a module. So we're going to publish this PSConfEU module to ACR. Okay, and then we're just going to find it to make sure that PS Resource Get can actually interact server side with the module. Okay, and then we have our module there. We can also install. We want to install PS Resource. Okay. Oh, well, let's try this again. Okay, sorry, we're having a little bit of difficulties. Steven's got an interesting machine that's both Mac and Windows. It did work before, so I apologize about that. Yep.
It's the slash in the name.
Oh,
because I have a folder with it.
Thank you.
It's my fault, guys. I'm sorry.
Thank you for catching that. There we go. So this should actually work now. It would help if you have the right
There we go.
module name. Um, yeah, actually,
Yep.
thank
Yep,
you.
and we're
That is
still
a very
improving.
good call out. That is a very good call out. So now we should be able to actually get the module, and we see that it has installed locally on the machine. So that's kind of the end-to-end experience. If you want to learn more about ACR or PS Resource Get, I'm doing a session at 2 o'clock today. Feel free to come by, learn more about it, give us some feedback if you have any. Would love to see you all there. So thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, Amber. Cool. So another area that we've been investing in is DSC. And so I'm going to bring up Steve Lee to talk a little bit about that. Everyone welcome Steve Lee. So as he's setting that up, Steve Lee is the engineering manager for the PowerShell and OpenSSH team. So come to him for literally any question you have. And I'm putting him on the spot there.
and to be certain, please come and see me at any time you see me at the conference. Ask me questions. I'm approachable, even if I seem like I'm not. All right, so while I'm waiting for this to install or build, let me cover one announcement. So Gail has informed me that the swag has arrived. Don't leave, but you can pick it up later. So I'm waiting for the build to finish. I know the front was yelling earlier during the demo. So something that people may not be aware of is in PS Readline, if you use Control-R, you can search through your history. So if I do like this, I can do like, what, and then I can keep hitting Control-R and it'll keep searching through the history. So just a little quick tip for my co-presenters and also the audience. Oh, sorry.
What to do, Control.
All right, I'm not used to the Windows side. There we go. All right.
There you go. Cool.
All right, good. So I'm just going to show a very quick demo. And while I'm waiting for this, I'm going to plug, I have a session that goes in a lot more detail tomorrow at 10 a.m., I believe, for DSC v3. And yes, I'll also make this bigger. So I'm just going to show a quick integration demo of WinGet with DSC v3. So let's close that. And one thing you'll notice that there's no more moth. This is YAML. And what this is going to do is it's going to just check if PowerShell 7 preview is installed. And then also this weird ID is actually for the stored version of calc. So I'll go back here. Yeah, let's just run this. So let's do a quick get. Ignore the parameters part. Again, I'll talk more about that in tomorrow's session. But this will run this configuration, which is now going to run the WinGet DSC v2 resource, the PowerShell resource. And this says that calc is not currently installed. So if I run calc, it actually will complain. So I'm going to now do a set, although I want to make this present. And this shouldn't take too long. And after this runs, again, it's going to call WinGet. It's not affecting the PowerShell 7 side, this parameter. You can kind of see it's called ensure calc. And then it should install calc via WinGet using their PowerShell class-based resource.
And using the hotel's Wi-Fi. So
We blame everything on Wi-Fi. Oh, is it going to be one of those days? All right, well, if this doesn't finish, it's... Oh, there we go. All right, so now if I run calc, yay, you can see beautiful calculator. So again, I will cover more about what all this means in my session, so don't worry about that. And then...
yeah, so we're going to go back.
I'm not going to...
Yeah, I'm going to keep Steve up here longer because we want to shift gears a little bit and start talking about some of the future stuff for PowerShell and the future stuff in general. So, yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about 7.5?
So we are continuing on our journey of releasing a new version of PowerShell every year. And again, just as a reminder, we do align our PowerShell 7 releases with .NET. So that typically means that we have previews early in the calendar year, and we usually GA around November timeframe. .NET and us don't like to ship in December. So for our next release, which is 7.5, this is a non-LTS release. So this is a stable, supported for 1 year after release. We're mainly focusing on commandlet and some engine improvements. There's only really one big area that we're investing in for 7.5. And there's reasons for that, which again, you can ask me during the AMA maybe of why that is. But we're really focusing on this PTY, so pseudo terminal support. So one of the things that Damien showed earlier is that with with commandlets, we have understanding of using like secure strings so that things don't accidentally leak to the console, like secrets. But for native commands, it's all just content. So using a pseudo terminal, we can actually capture the output from a native command, and we can do some detection to see if that output is a secret of some sort, and we can redact it from display. So that won't affect how you use it in scripts or in pipelines, but it will at least avoid accidental leaking to the console or to logs potential secrets. Also with the ability to capture output from native commands. So if you run like, git or other commands that actually provide some helpful tooltip after you made a typo or something like that, we can actually capture that output and feed it back into the feedback provider, which is what Steven showed earlier. And then finally, one of the big areas that I've been personally interested in kind of figuring out how to solve is how to get more native commands to be more like commandlets. And one way to do that is actually to have an ability for native commands like Docker, kube control, things like that do emit JSON or structured data, that we can have some informed way, so not automatic, of converting that to a PowerShell object. So you can now use stuff like select object, where object, and stuff like that to give you more commandlet-like experience. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
Back to Steven.
Thank you, Steve. So we wanted to take a moment here to talk about the community again. Like the community, like Rob and Barbara said earlier, the community is everything for the PowerShell and this conference and beyond. We are so grateful to our community and how much they've put in to making PowerShell better for everyone and helping each other out. There's so many amazing platforms to go to get PowerShell help, be it the Slack, be it online, be it on Reddit, different forums. There's different email lists. There's all these sorts of places that you can get PowerShell help and really accelerate your PowerShell growth. And I wanted to just highlight some cool things that we've had. Since the conception, we've had over 10,000 unique people contributing to the PowerShell repository and its adjoining repositories in some way. And we've had over 1,000 people submit PRs. And this is really exciting. And it's so cool that it actually, it broke the word cloud software I was trying to build this with. So we just wanted to highlight some of the amazing names and the people who have contributed to the PowerShell community. But we know it's not just these people on the board. There are so many people who are answering questions on Discord. They're asking questions and answering questions in Slack, building out these really awesome modules that everyone uses. And we just wanted to take a moment to say thank you all for making the PowerShell community so amazing, so welcoming, and so prosperous these last, 16 years since PowerShell, or I guess a little later when we talk about it being open source. But thank you all very much for the amazing contributions you do to PowerShell and the community around it. Yeah, let's give it a round to everyone. And we'll also say take this conference as an opportunity to learn about different community. There's all these amazing user groups that organizers who are here. There's all these amazing groups that you can go and share and learn about these awesome modules that people are making that can help you accelerate your work and learn something new. So cool. Damien, you want to talk a little bit about some ecosystem growth that we're looking at?
Sure. And the community is actually one of those. Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we
Wonderful. So the community is an important part of what the PowerShell is about, but it's also about what the ecosystem can bring to the shell. We've been putting here a few words that can reflect on what makes PowerShell rich and useful on the day-to-day basis. You can find PowerShell in places like Azure Automation or Cloud Shell. It's also used by HCI. It's used for deployment script. You can use in other places. It's also used for Microsoft Graph. We have a huge amount of modules for Microsoft Graph. Azure, we just talked about it, Azure PowerShell. So that ecosystem is vibrant. It's making PowerShell very rich and useful. And that's one of the pillars that we want to continue to foster. We are seeing, I was looking at some data, we're seeing tens of thousands of packages published. We're about 10,000 per month in the last few months. We can look at that number of packages being updated. That's huge. I mean, think of it. That's how much we have updates coming every day, and that makes the shell richer with new commandlets, new capabilities on a day-to-day basis. And as I said, we really want to build the future of what the shell can be for you on the same pillar. And that's when we switch to what I would call, we keep the best for the end, for the dessert, the sweet thing. We've heard about it. It's about AI. And we want to look at what AI, we want to share a bit what we think about AI for tomorrow. We want to tell you a bit more what our plans can look around that capability, what AI can bring to the shell. We want to build on the pillars I was describing about that ecosystem, that rich ecosystem that is actually making the shell very successful today. And we want to bring the same thing when you come to AI. We want to be an extensible platform that enable the use of AI capabilities. I'm reading what we have on the slide, but it's very important for us to make sure that we can bring something that is customizable, that is extensible, that will enable anyone that has a great idea to build it and bring it to the shell so that anyone can use and leverage the AI capabilities on a day-to-day basis. We have more to talk about. I think it's today.
Today, yeah. So I will be presenting on this later today, a little bit at 2 p.m. I believe, to talk a little bit more and showing off the getting into what it means to actually build this extensible platform. And like Damien said, we recognize that there's not one way to get AI right in this space. There's obviously, it has a lot of shortcomings and it has a lot of ways that it can accelerate you too, but we want to make sure that you have the ability to bring what you want there and how it can help assist you in that way. So why don't I show off a little bit about what that looks like, just so you can get a taste of it.
Good.
Time is it? There we go.
There you go. This
Yep.
one? Yep.
There we go. Feel load.
Maybe.
There we go. All right. Give me 1 second. So, I'm going to start off just by showing off Start AI Shell. This is a platform that a tool that we're working on to help bring AI directly into your shell, to help assist you better with your shell and scripting experience. However, it's not just a sidebar, to talk to ChatGPT. We recognize that it has to be a lot more than that. And so we've coupled it much better with PowerShell 7 to have it more integrated with the responses. So let's say, I can say, give me, and we have predictive IntelliSense with it too, because we love that. So, give me a steps to list out the files in my desktop and create 5 identical files prefixed with PSConfEU. So it's going to give me kind of a step-by-step. This is calling the OpenAI, this is calling an Azure OpenAI instance that I've created, that I've deployed myself into my resource. And it gives me these responses, to, open up PowerShell, list the files, do this and this. The really power that you can have with this is if I use this command code post, this will insert the code that I just got from the response into my terminal. I will have to wait, or it's not gonna run it. Don't worry. It's gonna let me use it and then execute on it so I can see, okay, this is what's in my profile. And now the next step is, you're going to get a lot of steps for the task that you're doing. And so the next thing that you're going to do is want to type or copy the 1.5, so on and so forth command. We have this tied into PowerShell's interactive ecosystem. So I can just type one here, and you'll see here the next steps, and all the subsequent steps you have with this tool will be in your predictive IntelliSense buffer. So you can kind of keep going and going, and get the assistance that you need from the AI assistant that you choose. And like I said, you can choose the different AI assistants that you want. You can build your own. Definitely, or if you're interested in building out an experience like this, come to my session later today at 2. We'll be talking about how to build it and what kind of other cool capabilities we have here. So that's a little bit about kind of AI in the future here that we want to show off.
That's a sneak preview of what we are working on. But as Steven said, we want to foster your capabilities to grow what you've seen. It is just the beginning, and we hope it's going to be a long road ahead.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap things up here too. Let's kind of bring together a lot of the things that we've been talking about. Some kind of takeaways from this from this talk that we'd love to kind of stick with you are these right here. Stay up to date. Security is our #1 priority right now, and it's important for folks to kind of stay up to date and stay aware of security issues so that you and your organizations can stay secure and stay safe. That is a big piece of our mission and a big thing that we're working on internally as well to make sure that we are secure and everyone's secure around PowerShell. The other thing is engage with the community. We're all here in person. Let's all chat. Let's all talk. Let's exchange all these ideas that make the PowerShell community amazing and make things so wonderful to come here in person and gain that business value that you were here to get, and just have a lot of fun. It's a great time to share these ideas, and we're very excited to do that. Last thing is talk to us. We are so open to new ideas, and you guys are the real ones using PowerShell on the daily and using these tools. And so there's too many corner cases for us to always catch. And so we would love for you to tell us about how you're using PowerShell, challenges that you've had around it, some really cool ideas that you want to bring to this platform and stuff. And we're super open to talk and get kind of feedback and exchange ideas and help make this product and the tools that we're building around it much, much better. And the last piece that we're talking about is intelligence in the shell. Like you said, we saw a taste of some of the AI capabilities that we're bringing into the shell itself. But, this is a very new area that we're working on. And so we want feedback and we want a better understanding on how this can better help you and how it can help others in the future. So please, talk to us, help us understand, help guide, and be the ones helping pave the way for the PowerShell in the future. And I think we're almost at time too. So so we'll be here all week. Here's just a little breakdown of the sessions that we got this week. I won't walk through all of them, but we got 2 today, AI in the shell and container registries. Tomorrow we got DSC, we got Azure machine configuration and winget configuration. We got some Azure's client tools updates on Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll be having some session on Azure Arc and PowerShell, and we'll have an Ask Me Anything with all of the folks from Microsoft here at this conference. So feel free to snap a picture. Of course, these are all on the schedule too. We just wanted to highlight that these are the folks coming from Microsoft here.
We also have 2 side sessions. I think Gail mentioned them earlier today. It's slightly different approach. We want to hear from you, so we're just here to listen to what you have to tell us. We have 1 session around the interactive improvements to PowerShell. We want to hear about that. We have only 18 person in the room, so if you want to join, make sure you join on time. And the other one at 2 p.m. on Tuesday is about the secrets redaction. So we want to go and click a little deeper from what you've seen around secret identification and alerting. We really want to go into that area and see what we should be doing or how we should be doing it.
And do note, if you can't make the session or if it conflicts with another, session that you want to go to that session. And we'll be here this whole week, so please just talk to us, and we'll be happy to talk to you if you have something you'd like to share on either of these topics or anything else for that matter. And I think that's actually the end of the presentation.
And we have 1 more slide.
Oh, yes.
And then that's it, I think. So, we're here all week. Please talk with us. We're going to be around. And we have different mechanisms to get engaged. GitHub is one of them that we can carry on all around the year. We have community calls. I know we haven't talked about those, but we have those community calls every Thursday. The 3rd Thursday of every month. That's a bit complex.
9:30 a.m. PST. The QR code will take you to our repository with all the past community calls and kind of information on how you can join the team. But we'll be hosting them every 3rd Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do have times in March and September that we're trying out for folks in Asia or Australia time zones. So we'll let you know about that. Yep. And just wanted to highlight some of our Twitters, how you can reach out to us. Of course, we're all around here, and we'll think that's kind of it. I know we're standing between you and lunch, so we don't want to take too much more time. Yeah, I think anything else we need?
Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for your attention, and looking forward to talking with you all week long.